The twin moons of Pandora Prime hung low in the purple sky as Naderi walked through the forest with her daughter. Little Suti was only 5 cycles old, a small blue hand wrapped tightly around her mother's fingers. The bioluminescent plants glowed softly around them, casting dancing shadows on the massive tree trunks that stretched toward the heavens. Naderi had taken this path many times before. It was the safest route from their village to the river, where the sweetest fruits grew. The elders had taught her that the forest was alive, that it watched over the Na'vi people. But today, something felt different. The usual sounds of the night creatures had grown silent. The small flying insects that normally filled the air with their gentle humming had disappeared. She stopped walking and listened. Her long ears twitched as they picked up sounds that did not belong to the peaceful forest. Heavy breathing, the crunch of leaves under massive weight, the clicking of claws against stone. Her heart began to beat faster. She knew that sound. Every Na'vi knew that sound from the stories told around the fire at night. It was the sound that made even the bravest warriors reach for their weapons. It was the sound of a Thanator. The Thanator was the most feared creature on Pandora Prime. It stood 3 times the height of a Na'vi and was covered in black armored skin that could stop arrows and spears. Its 6 legs could carry it faster than any mount. Its jaws could crush bone like dry leaves. No Na'vi had ever survived a direct encounter with a Thanator alone. Those who did survive only did so because they had been lucky enough to escape before the beast noticed them. Naderi slowly turned her head. Through the gaps in the glowing ferns, she saw it. The Thanator emerged from the darkness like a shadow given form. Its yellow eyes burned with hunger as they fixed on her and her daughter. Drool dripped from its massive teeth. The creature was hungry, and it had found its prey. Little Suti pressed her face against her mother's leg. She was too young to understand what was happening, but she could feel the fear in her mother's body. She could hear the terrible growling that came from the darkness. Naderi's mind raced. She had no weapon. She had left her bow at home because this was supposed to be a simple walk to gather fruit. There was no way she could outrun a Thanator, especially not while carrying her daughter. The trees were too far apart here to climb quickly. There was nowhere to hide. The Thanator took a step forward. Its massive claws dug into the soft ground. It lowered its head and prepared to charge. Naderi knew she had only seconds to act. She pushed the Suti behind her and spread her arms wide, making herself look as big as possible. It was a foolish gesture, she knew, but she would not let this monster take her daughter without a fight. The creature's muscles tensed. Its mouth opened wide, revealing rows of teeth that gleamed in the moonlight. Naderi closed her eyes and waited for the end. But the end did not come. Instead, she heard a sound that made no sense. It was a high-pitched whine, like nothing she had ever heard before. It was followed by a click, and then a voice speaking in a language she did not understand. She opened her eyes. Standing between her and the Thanator was a figure she had only seen in the old stories. It was smaller than a Na'vi, with only 2 arms and 2 legs. Its skin was not blue but a strange pale color. It wore strange coverings on its body made of materials she could not identify. In its hands, it held a device that glowed with an inner light. A human. The story said that humans had come from the stars many generations ago. They had brought with them terrible weapons and strange machines. The Na'vi had fought them at first, but then something unexpected had happened. The humans had changed. They had learned to respect Pandora Prime and its people. They had become protectors instead of destroyers. But Naderi had never seen one herself. She had thought they were just legends told to children. The human stood facing the Thanator without any sign of fear. Its stance was relaxed, almost casual. It spoke again in that strange language, and the device in its hands made a series of clicking sounds. The Thanator did not charge. Instead, it stopped completely. Its eyes, which had been fixed on Naderi and her daughter, now looked only at the human. Something changed in those yellow eyes. The hunger was still there, but now there was something else. Something that looked almost like recognition. And fear. The beast remembered. Somewhere in the primitive brain of the Thanator, memories were stirring. Memories passed down through countless generations. Memories of fire falling from the sky. Memories of thunder that shook the ground. Memories of creatures that looked weak and small but killed with impossible power. Memories of pack members falling one after another to weapons that struck from distances no claw could reach. The Thanators had learned long ago that some prey was not worth hunting. Some prey fought back in ways that defied understanding. Some prey was death itself wearing a harmless shape. The human took a single step forward. The Thanator took 3 steps back. The human made a sound with its mouth. Mary would later learn that this was called laughter. It was strange and short, but somehow it made the terrifying situation feel less frightening. The human raised its device and pointed it at the sky. A beam of red light shot upward, cutting through the darkness like a blade. The Thanator flinched at the light. It made a sound that Naturi had never heard a Thanator make before. It was a whimper. The most dangerous predator on Pandora Prime whimpered like a frightened child. Then the Thanator turned and ran. Its 6 legs carried it away into the forest faster than Naturi could follow with her eyes. Within seconds, it had vanished completely into the darkness. The sound of its retreat grew fainter and fainter until only silence remained. The human turned to face Naturi. Up close, she could see its features more clearly. It had 2 small eyes instead of the large eyes of the Navi. Its ears were tiny and round, pressed flat against its head. It had no tail. By all appearances, it should have been a helpless creature, easy prey for any predator. But Naturi had just watched the most feared beast on her world run away from this small being. She had seen the fear in the Thanator's eyes. Whatever this human was, it was not helpless. The human spoke again. This time, a small box on its chest repeated the words in the Navi language. The voice that came from the box was strange and mechanical, but the meaning was clear. "Are you hurt? Is the child safe?" Naturi found her voice. "We are not hurt. You saved us." The human nodded. It was a gesture that meant the same thing to humans as it did to Navi. "Good. You should not walk alone at night. The forest has many dangers. I have walked this path many times," Naturi said. "I have never seen a Thanator here before. They are moving to new territories," the human explained. "Climate changes are pushing them from their old hunting grounds. We have been tracking this one for 3 days." Naturi looked in the direction the Thanator had fled. "Why did it run? Why did it fear you?" The human was quiet for a moment. When it spoke again, its voice was softer. "We have a history with the predators of this world. When my people first came here, we made many mistakes. We killed many creatures. We were afraid of everything, so we destroyed everything that frightened us." The human paused and looked up at the twin moons. "The predators learned to fear us. That fear has been passed down through their generations. Even now, after we have changed our ways, they remember. The Thanators, the Viper Wolves, all the great hunters of Pandora Prime. They remember what humans did. They remember that we are dangerous." Naturi held her daughter closer. "Is that why you protect us now? Because you feel guilt for what your ancestors did?" The human turned to look at her. In its eyes, she saw something she did not expect. She saw sadness. Deep old sadness that seemed to stretch back across the stars themselves. "We protect you because we learned something," the human said. "We learned that being the most dangerous thing in the universe is not something to be proud of. It is something to be responsible for." The human knelt down to look at little Tsudi, who was peeking out from behind her mother's legs. The child was no longer afraid. Children could sense things that adults could not. She could sense that this strange creature meant no harm. "We scared everything in the galaxy for a very long time," the human continued. "We made the universe afraid of us. Now we try to use that fear to protect instead of destroy. If being scary keeps little ones like her safe, then maybe all that fear was worth something. The human stood up and pressed a button on its chest device. I will walk with you to your village. There may be other predators nearby. They walked together through the glowing forest. The human moved quietly despite its strange appearance. It seemed to know the paths almost as well as Naturi did. Along the way, it pointed out things that Naturi had never noticed before. Tracks in the soft ground that showed where animals had passed. Plants that were poisonous to humans but could be used for medicine by the Navi. Hidden water sources that could save a traveler in times of need. When they reached the edge of the village, the humans stopped. I will leave you here. My kind makes some of your elders uncomfortable. They remember the old days. Naturi wanted to argue, but she understood. Trust took time to build. The humans had done terrible things in the past. It would take many generations before that pain was forgotten. Thank you, she said. You saved my daughter's life tonight. The human smiled. It was a strange expression on such an alien face, but somehow it looked warm and kind. Take care of her. She will see a better future than we did. A future where humans and Navi do not need to be afraid of each other. The human turned and walked back into the forest. Within moments, it had disappeared into the shadows. But Naturi knew it was still out there, watching, protecting. That night, as she put Tsuri to bed, her daughter asked a question. Mother, what was that creature? The one who scared the monster away? Naturi thought for a long moment before answering. That was a human, my child. They come from a world far away among the stars. Are they scary? Naturi remembered the Thanator's eyes. She remembered the fear in those yellow depths. She remembered how the most dangerous predator on Pandora Prime had run away like a frightened animal. Yes, she said softly. They are very scary, but they are our friends. And that makes us very lucky. Tsuti thought about this for a moment. Then she smiled and closed her eyes, safe in the knowledge that somewhere in the darkness, something even scarier than the monsters was keeping watch over her. And in the forest, the human continued its patrol. It was a guardian born from a species of warriors. A protector shaped by millions of years of being the most dangerous thing on any world it stepped upon. Other races built walls to keep dangers out. Humans became the danger that walls were built to stop. But this human had chosen to use that terrible inheritance for good. It walked through the darkness so that others could sleep in peace. It carried the weight of its species' bloody history so that future generations might know a gentler story. The predators of Pandora Prime would not hunt near the Navi village tonight. They knew better. They had learned through pain and death that some prey was not worth the cost. And somewhere among the stars, other worlds slept soundly knowing that the humans were watching over them. The scariest thing in the universe had become the universe's greatest protector. It was a strange comfort, but comfort nonetheless. The twin moons continued their slow journey across the purple sky. The bioluminescent plants continued their eternal glow. And in a small hut in a Navi village, a mother and daughter dreamed peaceful dreams, guarded by the most unlikely of guardians. The monsters would not come tonight. The monsters knew what was waiting for them if they did. Humanity was watching.